Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. JC here with another video on Taimanin. Today, I'm gonna share my wish list for the next year on Taimanin. But before we start, don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe if you enjoy the content. So, as you know, soon enough we're gonna receive the developers notes. I mean, I say soon enough. It's gonna be like a month or so. We usually receive this at the end of December. So I thought it would be a nice idea to share what I would like to see, and well, let's just talk about it and let's see if other people would like the same things, and maybe Gremory listen to us and they consider that for the next year or maybe the one after that. We'll see. So the first thing that I wrote on my list was more machine type characters. I keep repeating that. And I don't like repeating it. It's not that I want more machine type characters per se, just that compared to the other categories, 5 characters is not that much. How many we have on the human category? Let's see. Over here we have 10, and then we have 19. 19 humans, okay. What about demons? We have, yeah, that's 10. We have 16 demons. Okay, yeah, 16 demons, 19 humans, and only 5 machines. You see the problem there. So, honestly, there's many characters they could add into the game. Like, for example, I mentioned that one that is fairly acceptable is Amane, Fumamane. She seems pretty nice. Besides, we have the rivalry costume, the friend costume for Saika, that it's Amane's butler suit. So that would be nice to have. Also, Brunhilda would be amazing. Yeah, I think we don't need more characters with those kind of proportions, but I won't complain if they add Brunhilda for sure. Then more collab characters. After the whole Anoros debacle, we haven't had that many collab characters. Well, just recently, they added um, Kara into the game, which is not exactly from the Taimanin series. It's obviously from Lilith, but it's not the exact same IP. So, yeah, that's let's consider that a collab character. As long as they add more characters, there's also people who want to see. Where is it? I have it over here. So who want to see uh Marika? There's people who want to see Marika, and I won't complain if they add Marika. Like those weapon looks pretty nice. And not that I love the design, but as long as it's a fun character to play, I'm okay with that, no matter the design. So, yeah, they could add Marika. They could try to convince other games to um, do a collab. Like, no, I'm not saying Arc Knights, but Arc Knights does this thing where they usually grab characters from other IPs, and then they also do a collab on the other side of things. Um, I don't know, like they could do so many things if they really try, and they have improved a lot. They have been earning money with this game. As far as I can tell, the quality has been improving, so that's evidence that things are going well. So let's hope that they get some IPs and do some collabs. Let's see. More characters with team supportive capabilities. I really would like to see more characters that can help out with team builds, because nowadays we have a good amount of selfish characters and we don't have as many characters that are able to support the team with something that is really valuable. For example, Sakura has supportive capabilities for the team, since she's able to ensnare the enemy, but ensnare is not the most useful buff. She also has supportive capabilities thanks to her Unabara. That's an excellent weapon But you can fix that issue of supported capabilities with any weapon. It's more about the skills that they have. What else can Sakura do if she's helping the team? She reduces speed on green, but only with this skill. Increase critical rate. And let's see. And that's about it. She either ensnares on blue or reduces speed on green, and that's it. You see what I mean? I mean, she's one of the first characters. Nowadays, the most recent characters have more supportive capabilities. Like Ragnarok is super, super useful. She's able to reduce speed, if I'm not mistaken, on blue. She is going to constantly freeze the enemy, and that's gonna be super, super useful. So, yeah. And if I'm not mistaken, red. Was it red? Increases speed. Oh no, red is speed increase. I thought it was defense reduction, like a light defense reduction. But well, she has speed reduction and freeze. Who else? Like that's better. Mirabelle, for example, has a defense reduction on blue, if I'm not mistaken, and yeah, that's about it. Only on blue she has defense reduction. The other things are like selfish. She doesn't provide other benefits to the team on red or green. And let's see. For example, Natsu also has supported capabilities with two skills basically, but the best color for those skills is gonna be blue. It's a Smoke Cloud, Restoration Monk, even Drifting Illusion is pretty good, but like there's not that many characters that are going to help buff the team. There are a couple characters who help healing the team, and that's fine. It will be nice to have more healers too. But characters that are extremely busted and so useful on both solo content and team content, like Phantasma, there are not that many that are this useful. Phantasma is going to be able to buff characters with the circle. She's going to increase damage by getting near to the enemy with the passive. She's going to be slowing the enemy on blue. She's going to be what else? But that's basically it. Like everything else is gonna be selfish, but the speed reduction, the defense reduction with the aura and the nightmare, as well as the buff with the AoE attack, is just very, very useful. I honestly wish that we receive more characters that are able to buff the team, like Spinel. So yeah, we have many characters that are selfish and don't want to help out the team, and they don't offer anything. So it would be nice to see more characters that are able to provide buffs, debuffs, healing, etc. So yeah. Oh, the leader skill issue. Yeah, I honestly wish that they do some kind of um, event or campaigns, uh, whatever they want, to add leader skills to the characters that do not have them, that already received the renewals. Another thing that I added to the list was like a second renewal event or campaign for specific characters. They don't have to do it for everyone, honestly, because some characters are already pretty good as they are after the renewal. For example, we know Sora, Anna Rose, Saika are just busted. Noah is still pretty great, even though it's a little bit simple. The addition of her leader skill is amazing. So campaigns to change certain characters and give them further buff them and give them the leader skill would be nice, because for example Asagi's skills, I mean she's fine, but she's too basic. She doesn't debuff the enemy enough. She does have speed increase and a speed reduction, and she applies slow to the enemy, sure. But what about something else that makes her a little bit more unique rather than just a generic speed reduction? Because for that, I just mentioned Phantasma. Phantasma Blue is an excellent way to just slow the enemy. So what can she offer? Maybe a special synergy with Kojinka for Asagi, a special buff that activates, or a counter that activates Kojinka every now and then. That would be nice. Similar to Ana Rose's new counter. So new bar. It would be nice. Having leader skills for all these characters, enhancing their capabilities. For example, Murasaki. Murasaki, while she's still a menace, she has dropped a little bit. She is strong regarding survivability. But when we take into account DPS for the newest challenging content, she's kind of a slow on the DPS department. She deals damage, sure, but it takes some time, and well, we want to finish the stage as fast as possible. So yeah, we need different kind of buffs. For example, poor Shiranui. Shiranui is a fun character, sure, but she honestly doesn't offer anything in particular. She's just a DPS, and that's it. She has healing. She has healing. She has damage and some couple AOEs, but what else? She doesn't like buff, debuff, apply a specific effect of any kind. She just deals damage and that's it. Like for that, I could just go with the latest character that is Asuma and deal even more damage than Shiranui can. So yeah, we need second renewals or campaigns for specific characters, kind of the year one characters, most of them. Some others are already fine as they are. uh Kirari still needs the leader skill and maybe a little tweak to her skills. So yeah, some other characters do not need them, like Oboro. Oboro is just okay. Well, I would like to change Vicious Lasher, but that's personal. That's a me thing. But everything in his kit is fine. Even though the leader skill is pretty simple, it's still pretty effective. So yeah, just a couple campaigns, Gremory, consider it, because there are characters that actually need a second renewal. Then, the decisive set for Sora and Aina. We definitely want those. Can I just... Yeah, over here I can see decisive weapons. If we check the weapons, you're gonna see that we don't have bows and arrows over here. And we don't have... well, we do have the Yuki's pack over here. But we don't have Aina's. Aina still hasn't received her decisive weapon. Honestly, I'm fine if she doesn't get it until she gets her renewal. After she gets her renewal, she can finally get that. But like, give us Sora. Sora should... it's long overdue. She really needs her decisive weapon. Or well, like more skins, more weapons, more builds that we can do. After that, like, what can they enhance for Sora? Because all colors are pretty good. If I wanted to enhance a specific color for Sora, it would be either green, because Gotsmau is still kind of underwhelming, or Yudachi. They can further enhance Yudachi, which is already strong, but they can further enhance it. Why not? Just so that it's devastating. But yeah, I definitely want to see that. And I added this to the list not because I actually want it, but because I know there's people who appreciate it. Robert, consider adding more of those cheap custom packs that you have been adding. Um, I mean, that's only going to be good for players who spend money, but adding affordable packs is not a bad thing to do. And they can just do this to work on a skin, get some money, and ignore the gacha a little bit. They can work on repeats for different campaigns and events. So I'm gonna go back to that. But consider adding more of these cheap packs that come with a skin and some vouchers or boxes for weapons, because I think they're good value for some players. Let's see. For example, another one that I love, obviously the Momochi one. I love this custom. So yeah, there's people who would like that, and we're receiving another one just in a couple days. No, 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 it's gonna take some time. But I don't know the exact date, but it's coming next month, and it's Natsu's Christmas skin, and not. She's receiving she already has a Christmas skin, but it's another Christmas skin, and it looks really, really nice. So yeah, I'm okay with those packs. Affordable packs are nice. So what do you think, guys? Do you agree with that, or you don't want more pay to win stuff? But I mean, that's one option. Um, I have been thinking lately. I have a ton of gems, crystal kits that I have been saving, because I convinced myself some time ago that they were going to add more levels for characters, but right now I don't think that's going to be the case. Maybe eventually, if they are way more sources of crystals, that will become a possibility. I don't think it's gonna happen right now, but level 100 would be nice. It's something that I would like to see, but I don't think it's gonna happen. Not soon, at least. But would you like to see level 100? Or do you think there's already too many characters to go to that point? Uh, well, it's only a matter of resources. If they add enough ways to grab crystals, it would be just natural to add level 100. But we'll see about that. Now, let's talk a little bit about rewards. I just started like very few things on this section, but I think it is important that Grimoire considers this. I want Grimoire to every month add a way to grab some Demonite shards and nanomachine blueprints. They don't have to do the 5 each month, but just grabbing a couple of these would be super useful. Like, we can already do that on the metal shop, though they have been adding these ones as limited. It would be nice to just add them as permanents and know that they will always be available, because if they say no, we're stopping these campaigns and we're not adding them anymore, it would be like, oh well, that's unfortunate. So it would be nice to just have them as permanent items always, even if we don't grab the 5 copies, just maybe 2 per month or a little bit more, it would be nice. What else? Oh yeah, definitely that one. I would like to see monthly EP vouchers as rewards from any store, any event, whatever they want, but it's super important that they add monthly EP vouchers. What are the EP vouchers? Let me show you on the inventory. I think I have some. EP voucher, and this is EP1 for weapon and supporter. So basically, these vouchers are going to give you an event weapon or supporter. Why do I say they need to add this? We already have the archive, and on the archive, if you clear the events, you can grab 1 copy of the weapon or supporter for each event. And that's nice. That's nice to unlock formations and stuff. But still, newer players and most players are going to benefit from having supporters, specific supporters at 5 out of 5, or multiple copies of specific supporters. So, for example, for EP voucher number 1, people want to have Onigumo at 5 out of 5, even multiple copies of Onigumo. People want to have Kato at 5 out of 5. People want to have Mike at 5 out of 5. Maybe that's about it. That's the only 3 useful supporters. But if we talk about the EP voucher number 2, well, that's a different story. Like, every supporter in this section is good, with the exception of Yuna. Yuna is not that great, but everyone else is just amazing. If you want meta builds for Total War, you're gonna need Haru. If you want to tackle any form of challenging content, Susune is gonna be amazing. And all of these other supporters are pretty useful. Some of them are a little bit niche, some of them are a little bit more generic, but you're gonna benefit from having these at 5 out of 5. So I think that Gremory needs to give every month some amount of EP vouchers on any store that they decide, be that the special, the metal shop, maybe the VR shop, whatever they want to add them, or maybe as weekly missions, whatever they want. But we need those vouchers every month. Not that I need them, but most players are gonna benefit from that. As I mentioned, having multiple copies of specific supporters is gonna be very useful. Look at this. I have triple Susune, I have also triple Misaki, and I have triple Arabella. Because those supporters are just that useful. I can go like triple F2P with those. But honestly, Gremory, consider giving the EP vouchers every month. They're gonna be amazing for most players, and it is not like it's super busted if you give 1 or 2 of those to every player every month. Then, more Golden Pass missions and rewards. They already showed us that they can add more missions and rewards on the anniversary, and it would be amazing if they decide to replicate that and do it permanent, because it would further incentivize players to grab the Golden Pass, especially if they add like the Nanomachine blueprints and Demonite fragments on the golden section, because those items are extremely good. That's why. So consider it, Gremory. It's really nice, and besides, it's gonna benefit newer players because they're gonna be able to grab the F2P stuff even so. So I think that would be beneficial for most players. Let's see. Others. In this section, I just added a bunch of stuff that I want to see. So, for example, ways to farm Stardom Fragment, Skill Point Orb, and Colorless Hammer. So, let's go to the inventory over here. Right now, there's no way to farm Stardust Fragments. And you may be asking, how do you have this then? Because of some special boxes, throughout the year we have been receiving red, green, blue, and yellow boxes. And the yellow ones are the ones that give you these fragments. But you cannot get them any other way. You need to get those boxes. And it's like, what do you do with this? You craft Stardust. So maybe allow us to farm this stuff. We get this by just failing at the enchantment. And it's a constellation price, but it would be nice to be able to farm it so that you don't need to fail so much. Then, the Magatama Polishing Tool Colorless. It would be nice to also have ways to farm this. Right now, we have constantly been receiving this on weekly missions, and that's pretty nice, but consider adding those to stores or a way to farm these ones. Maybe a new kind of secret dailies, perhaps? I don't know. But the ability to farm this is going to be pretty useful. Then, farming skill points, orbs. So we have these skill point orbs that we receive through missions every now and then. They're also available at the metal store, and honestly, these items are not that valuable for the most part, because you can just do missions and you'll receive the skill points directly. But the ability to farm this would be nice, or to get more missions where we actually receive this, so that we constantly do. That would be nice. Why do I care about this? Because that's gonna facilitate people enhancing their characters, and they're gonna be incentivized to use them. So that's what I recommend. Because we take an excruciating amount of time to max out um, the stat training, which isn't even worth it. So yeah, just for the pleasure of seeing those numbers complete, I guess. Let's see, what else would I like? Oh yeah, more butterfly weapons and more Christmas weapons and more. Let's see, where are the summer vacation weapons? More Christmas weapons. I want more weapons of those three categories. Do we have Holy Knight? Holy Knight over here. Why do I care about those? Well, the butterflies are super good weapons, meta relevant even. So I would like to see more characters have their own butterfly weapons. I think they can add them to the pool. They can do events to increase this, and if they even want, they can make them a little bit exclusive at the beginning, but then they become available on campaigns, whatever they want. But like originally, the butterfly weapons, the summer weapons, and if I'm not mistaken, the Christmas weapon were available on gachas, and after the first run, they became available on campaigns, F2P. So they can do that just to increase the roster of these, the pool of these items, because they are pretty good. The summer ones are not as good. They are very niche, but they have cool skins, and I like that. These ones are very good, very busted, and the butterflies are the best. So I would like to see Gremory add more weapons to these families of weapons. Let's see, what else? Oh, a VR renewal. Like, they already did a VR renewal, and I'm glad of the change they did to, well, most of the changes they did to VR. Honestly, the difficulty, lowering the difficulty, that's something they should have, like, started with since the beginning. It shouldn't have been as difficult as it was from the very beginning. And they left out like a couple years with that difficulty, and then they decided to change it. That I don't like that, but okay, it's more accessible. That's what matters. That's what matters. So what I would like to see on VR, first of all, the ability to tackle multiple bosses each week. Right now we have 2 demon bosses, 2 machine bosses, 2 human bosses. Maybe one week it's a set of 3 bosses, and the other week is the other set. That would be nice. Or maybe you can group them to humans, to demons, to machines, so that we can select which one we tackle. Why do I recommend doing this? Because that would allow us to farm weapons faster. The weapons for Queen Kanaloa are only available when Queen Kanaloa is available. She is a demon type enemy, and these are not the only anti-demon weapons that we have. We also have the Spider Scepter and the Spider Bracelet, which are not available right now. They're only available when we have Spider Queen. So we have to wait, what, like 5 weeks for specific weapons. That's a bit long, you know? So changing the way bosses rotate would be very nice, would be very useful. But before that, they could add maybe a little more bosses to the roster. I won't oppose to that. I would like more VR bosses. So yeah, they may also consider that. But I strongly suggest they consider doing another update to VR. Not only that, I still suggest they add the monthly tab. They can add the most useful items. For example, they could add a couple metal coins over here, or maybe some gacha coins. They could add the Demonite shard, the nano machine blue, please. They could add like a ton of very rare stuff. The Magatama attribute change vouchers, those are super useful. So like there's many things they can add to the VR store. And on that topic, if they decide to go through with those changes, I strongly recommend they increase the amount of coins that people can farm per day. Because if we have more stuff to farm, or well, more stuff to buy, then farming more currency would be extremely useful. Then, what else? Let's see. More VR. Oh, yeah. Also, I would like to see more VR weapons. Like, we have a very good amount of VR weapons. Oh, I cannot. I know it's over here. Can I? Wicked Star. So we have a good amount of VR weapons, but again, we have 40 characters, and over here we have what? 9 weapons, not even 10. 9 weapons. So yeah, that's less than a quarter, technically. So almost a quarter. So yeah, add more VR weapons. They are super useful. They are amazing. They are great. What else would I like to see? Over here, I would like to see the selection gacha repeat at least every 3 months or so. If we have like 4 selection gachas per year, where those are the best value in the game, the best ones to roll on, that will help out newer players to catch up with all the stuff that we have. Uh, and it will become a little bit more F2P friendly, honestly, so that it would incentivize players and they wouldn't feel like they have missed out so much and that they will never catch up. So I strongly recommend that they continue to do the selection gachas and that they do them like the. I remember that in RPGX they have these kind of gacha festivals that are really OP. They should do the same with those. The pick up selection gachas are amazing. Let's see what else. This is an idea that I put. Like people have mentioned this. I am not exactly like super excited about this, but people have mentioned that they would like to see dual types. There's different ways to apply that idea by equipping, for example, specific supporters that having those supporters allow you to have an extra type, by doing characters who actually have the dual type just naturally. And the one of the best ideas, in my opinions, is to just equip specific skins and those add the dual type. Um, but again, that would incentivize having the specific skills. That would be maybe a little bit pay to win. So perhaps it's not a great idea. It's something that people have been asking for, and I understand the benefits. I understand the theory and that it could be implemented. I don't particularly want this, but let me know in the comments. Do you think that dual typing would be a great addition to the game? Maybe it would be. Let's see. Oh yeah, sales for permanent items. We already have deals every now and then, different deals, like the custom packs that come with desire skins or golden pass skins. We have specific packages from certain festivities or just packages that drop costs randomly. We have packages for the renewals, the decisive packages, and so on. And sometimes when there's a repeat, there are sales, there are discounts. For example, we have Aneros on discount here on sale, pretty good. There's also Heavy Shika sales. But what I refer to are 2 specific kinds of sales that they don't do that often. In fact, one of them they have never done. So, I would like to see discounts every now and then on permanent skins. I never buy the permanent skins. And these are a way to just spend the gems and just drain players. But you know why I never do that? Why? I mean, I do have permanent skins, but the reason why normally I don't buy this is because I say, well, it's always available whenever I want it, and I have the gems to spare. I will, but only when I really really want it, and then I spend years without actually buying the skins that I like just cause. Um, but we have had like one or two discounts specifically for the bunny outfits, and I did buy a chunk of the skins available on that sale just because of the discount. So they could do discounts for specific permanent families. Particularly, they can prioritize the oldest ones so that they can um, gain more with the newest ones. Whatever they want, just consider doing sales for permanent items such as this. And the same can be said about the character packs. I didn't used to buy character packs. I only bought one at the start of the game just to see for Rinko. But after that, I never bought a character pack. Not until they started to do these insane weapons, the ambitious weapons. Um, but before that, I didn't buy those. And honestly, there's no reason for most players to buy the character packs other than these ones. And even so, sometimes people don't buy them. So doing sales for the permanent ones would be a good idea, just for the standard one, because the jump up pack, Gremory wants to sell them when the character release with the extra benefit. So I think that would be nice because that would allow some players to grab, particularly the newer characters, the newest characters that have good ambitious weapons, or specific characters that they may want. I wonder. The skin, what's up with that? Well, anyways, so that's one thing. Sales. What else? Oh, after learning that we don't have the toggle for enchantment, I think that one thing that would benefit, that would be very useful, maybe not benefit, but be very useful, is the ability to just toggle on and off both enchantment and awakening skills. Like the reset button is fine, but the ability to turn this on and off would be extremely useful for testing, for doing custom challenges. Honestly, Grammar, consider a way to turn on and off our enhancements. Even controlling the characters level would be incredible. So, yeah, they could do that. If you know gamers, sometimes when we don't receive content, we are willing to do our own kind of challenges, like the wood weapon challenge. So yeah, Gremory, do consider this. Do consider this. It is not that bad of an idea, even though it sounds detrimental. Um, then, what we need in the game is an update to the Crest system, because it's awful. Reaching level 10 is almost impossible. It's like reaching enchantment 15 at the beginning. It is extremely difficult. Also, we have to roll for a whole crest if we want specific effects. It would be nice to be able to re-roll the effects similar to Magatama's. Like, it would be nice to enhance this to be more useful so that we actually want to use the crests. The only reason why we want to use crest is basically PvP and also for farming arena coins. So yeah, consider upgrading that system, updating that system. It really needs like a lot of work. And another thing that I would like to see is something that Gremory has already said they are not doing yet, and that's updating all supporters. I don't think they should update all of them, but maybe they can update some of them, like a handful. And if they do this smart, we can benefit as players and they can benefit by selling a product. Let me tell you how exactly. There are many categories of supporters. They could just add extra missions for supporters, specific supporters. Let's say every campaign they select 5 supporters that they are going to update. And if you have that supporter at max awakening, let's say where is the useless one? Over here, there she is, Mari. If you have this supporter at max awakening, you are able to unlock a quest, and if you clear the quest, you will get maybe a couple gems, whatever reward, and also an update on the effect. For example, Mari is pretty useless because she reduces damage taken from all enemies by 36% when debuffed or stunned. That's bad. Unless you debuff yourself constantly, that's a pretty bad effect. Most characters, I cannot think of one character that actually debuff themselves. Maybe there is, but like they don't come to mind. So that's a terrible effect. If we clear a mission, we receive a small reward, and then we also update this effect so that it removes this section. It would be amazing if, in the case of your Sora is also pretty bad right now. The healing is nice, but let's say we finish her mission, and then she said increases restoration from all sources by 64%, and every X seconds restores, let's say, 5% of max HP, and also gives 25% damage increase against all enemies. Then suddenly Jusora is actually useful. Like, obviously Gremory wouldn't want to spend time on all supporters. Why would they want to spend time on all supporters if they can just create new ones and sell new ones? Well, if you continue to expand your player base, many players are gonna be getting these supporters, and many won't have the old permanent supporters. You could rerun the old permanent supporters and also buff the old permanent supporters. Let's say this one increases critical damage of all attacks by 48%. Let's make that a 50% and also increases critical rate by 30%. Imagine that. Imagine that. It would incentivize players to roll, new players to roll for the old supporters. So, yeah, they can do this in such a way that they can benefit. We can receive benefit as players, and they can also sell old stuff that is updated and now it feels strong and refreshing. This supporter, even though it's pretty old, it's still pretty good. It's meta relevant. So even so, they can do this, guys. I think they honestly can. And these campaigns would be super, super useful when they have like... they can apply these campaigns when they have a very slow month where they're not going to apply that much changes. Maybe they're going to rerun a ton of things. For example, on summer... sorry. On summer, they usually repeat the skins. They don't offer new sets and stuff because there are a ton of summer skin. There are a good amount of summer weapons. So whenever we have those months, they could do these campaigns. They can just take a break every now and then and add those. I think it's not a bad idea. Then, just to finish, I have been avoiding this. This is the thing that I had at the top of my list, but it's new modes. Right now, according to the what's the name? The developers' notes, there's two things missing. Number one, more minigames. They supposedly were going to add more minigames. Maybe we'll see them next month. Or maybe they need they're gonna start the year with those, which it's okay. I don't mind waiting, but honestly, I think like we need new minigames because Yuki's Gosha shooting gallery is already driving me nuts, and the same can be said about Asagi's bridge race. At least is fun, but honestly, they should consider adding more mini games and maybe more rewards. I don't know. Another thing that I want to see are the rates or whatever club activity they decided to add, because that's another thing that we're missing from the list. Let's say they were going to add new ways to interact on the club, and they did mention that they were working on raids like when the club started. And it's been a while, so I hope that they add the raids or whatever other club activity they decide to add. I would like to see a roguelike mode, honestly. One thing that this game doesn't need anymore is more stat checks. Gremory loves to do simple content that just increases the stats and relies on players increasing their own stats to clear content. Well, that's like Gacha 101. That's pretty basic, and it's something that all games are gonna do. We have such a diverse roster of characters, supporters, weapons, effects. Like, there's so many things in the game that we can take advantage of this in a more complex way, guys. Like a roguelike where we select different characters, apply different effects, have different limitations or conditions would be amazing. Honestly, there's so many things Grimoire can do. Instead of just add another 10 levels to the tower and that's it. Which I appreciate. Honestly, it's very nice, very refreshing to have more tower levels, more VR bosses, Total War. Even though a lot of people don't like Total War, I like the building aspect of Total War. So they can add something a little bit more challenging, where we actually want to focus on building, on enhancing our account, on having a diverse selection of characters. Right now, one thing that happens is that you want to have all supporters, not because you want to use all supporters, but rather because they are going to give you stats. That's the reason why you want to have all supporters, not because they are you're using them per se or equipping them, just because by maximum out you're gonna have stats, which it's dumb for the most part. If I have these supporters, I want to be able to use them. I want a challenge where I am actually incentivized to use them. For example, one supporter that I have never used other than testing it is Koharu. Koharu is just an awful supporter. But if I was, let's say, every time I pick a supporter, that supporter is gonna get removed from my list, and I'm not gonna be able to use it on that run for, let's say, a boss roll or something like that. I would be using that one just as filler so that I can tackle the most difficult ones with the good supporters. So I don't know. There's so many things they can do. Just don't, Gremory, don't rely on something that is too simple, too easy. Like adding more levels of towers is too simple. Adding another boss of VR is too simple because there's already the formula in place. You know it's gonna work. You know that players like it, and it's gonna be fine. But it's not going to change how the game works, and we have such a diverse set of effects, characters, and so many things in this game that we can go beyond that point already. And you should take advantage of that. So, a labyrinth mode would be nice, where we are incentivized to explore, to take decisions, to see what's the next challenge gonna be, and decide I want to tackle either this or another one. Maybe explore and get some rewards, get some kind of relics or items that change how the stage is gonna work, or are gonna give you a buff, a debuff, whatever. Maybe a customizable challenge where we are able to apply certain buffs or debuffs, or limit ourselves in such a way that we play differently. Like, there are builds for particle charge and weapon active, but most people don't use them. Like, this weapon is so fun to use. The Van Sensor is amazingly good for weapon active, but nobody plays weapon active. Why? Because there's no need to play weapon active. But if we put a ton of limitations on standard play, like, for example, reduce the ultimate damage, reduce the skill damage, increase the skill cooldown, if we put all those limitations, we would be incentivized to use different builds, like particle charge builds and weapon active builds. So consider adding customizable challenge. There's people who advocate for the infinite mode. Infinite mode is an interesting proposal, to say the least. There's different ways in which that could be applied. Mostly would be we would have to tackle certain waves that, and after a specific amount of time, people would gain, let's say, more HP, damage reduction, or more damage. So yeah, it's interesting. I like the idea. I'm not sure how to apply it properly, but if Grimoire decides to go that route, it will be nice, because that would incentivize players going for AoE builds rather than single target damage. And right now we're focusing a lot on single target damage thanks to Total War. And then there's the boss rush. Like, there's a ton of games that have boss rush, and adding a boss rush mode would not be a bad idea at all. It's something that can easily be implemented. We can keep the same HP, like we can keep the HP system on BR for the run. Like, we tackle a specific set of bosses, we can add limitations, or we can increase the difficulty with some toggles. I don't know, but there's so many things they can do, and I would like to see that. I think that next year they're only gonna focus on PR and the rates. But honestly, look forward, guys. Look forward, guys, to what Grimoire can do, and ask them to go the extra mile, to do their best at this, because the game has so much potential, and they could definitely make interesting challenges, not just increase the stat caps. Like, honestly, I like the challenges, but they have become a little bit lazy on the design part of things. Just increasing the stats, adding more ways to become stronger with your characters, rather than focusing on building the compositions, using the right combination of supporters, applying the right immunities, debuffs, or effects. When we can do that, we already have a plethora of different effects. So yeah. Anyways, guys, that's my wish list for the next year. Let me know in the comments if you agree with what I commented, if you disagree, what things you wanna see next year, and I'll be seeing you next time. Bye.